Sourdough Sam.
No, Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Disrespect to Sourdeath Sam will not continue.
Yo! What's going on, guys? How's it going? It's been a minute. I had my own bye week. I went to New York, got a chance to see the Big Apple.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was pretty good. Had a good time out there. Ate some good food. Saw some good people. But I'm happy to be back. Listen, there's one thing I love to do. It's to be here with you. And that's all I got to say about that. Listen, so we are back after our bye week, and we leave with a victory. Now, there's something bittersweet about that victory, because for a while, not only did it seem like we weren't going to win, when we did win 23-20 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it just didn't resonate with the joy that I think we all feel when we watch a victory, right? I think at least when I was watching it and the game ended and we won, you would be hard-pressed to find a large swath of 49ers fans who left that game feeling great. Obviously, there were highlights, but, you know, when your field goal kicker misses 3 kicks, it becomes a huge headache, not only thinking about what could be before the game ended, but even after the game is over, thinking about where do we go from here? Because special teams has been such a nightmare for this team for the entire season. And we were barely able to squeeze out a victory. I mean, in all fairness, because of the kicker, but it just didn't feel great, right? So I think it's time to sort of, light the sage, sort of waft it through your homes, wherever you watch the game, waft it through your local dive bar, waft it through your local Buffalo Wings, and let's just reset, right? I mean, we've got a lot of good things going for us right now. We do have Christian McCaffrey back. We've got Dre Greenlaw coming eventually, and we've got an ascending talent in Ricky Pearsall, who is beginning to really find his footing, and that's really encouraging. But I think if there's one person to talk to about this game, I think we all know who it is. It's my friend, my pal, my indentured servant, Kyle 5000. Oh, buddy. Kyle, how's it going, man? How you feeling about that win? Obviously, a win is a win, but, it's kind of a tight one. Just kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Real close one there. Mm-hmm. Thought I was going to have to put my fist through a wall, but I guess Jake Moody squeezed in his little field goal at the end, so it all worked out. Not a fan of our Tabor Pepper beefing with Deebo Samuel either, so it looks like we've got some come-to-Jesus shit we've got to deal with before Sunday.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, not a great look, man, when you've got your long snapper beefing with Deebo Samuel, but I will say, all I want is peace. Much love to Tabor Pepper, much love to Deebo Samuel. But I get it, tensions were high, that we're competitors, etc. But hey, look, I've got Vish coming on the show today. Vish Kumaran, I got him coming on, friend of the show. I want to know how you feel about Vish, baby.
Vish, man. Now there's someone who really knows ball. Love that his opinions are so sharp without having to be, controversial for the sake of being controversial. He's a trusted voice, in my opinion. Tell him I say hello.
I will tell him you say hello. Kyle, I'm going to let you go into sleep mode. I appreciate you. Thanks for chatting with me. Speaking of Tabor Pepper, first of all, very nice guy. So, everyone's got what they want to say about him. He's just backing up his boy, right? Obviously, None of us were none too thrilled to see the result on the field from my beloved Jake Moody. And obviously Deebo Samuel had all the right in the world to say, lock the fuck in. But, Tabor's a good guy. In matter of fact, he's such a good guy. I have a very unique moment that I would like to share with you. So when I was a child, I collected Pokemon cards. And I don't have a ton of them. For those of you who are watching, I can kind of show you. I've got a pretty good amount. But one of the Pokemon cards that I found, and look, I'm trying to buy a house. So I was hoping that one of these cards was going to be worth roughly $300,000. I can tell you that they're not, unfortunately. But I did find one that I did know for a fact was pretty rare. It was a first edition Pikachu card. And you know what? I invited Tabor Pepper into the conversation, noted Pokemon card collector. I wanted to see, Tabor, brother, give me a valuation on my first edition Pikachu card.
Yes, sir.
Tabor wrote back. Oops, I'm skipping ahead. Come on now. He said, wow, that's pretty special. Would need to see the front and back. And I took a picture of the front and back. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As you can see, the front of this Pikachu card, mind the glare here, obviously not the best sliding angle here, but you see the first edition right there on the left side there. And on the back, you see a little damage on the bottom. So, I'm kind of curious, Tabor Pepper, what do you think about this fucking Pokemon card? He graded it a 7. All right. It is what it is, man. He's just giving me the hard truth, man. Like he was giving the hard truth to Deebo, man. Lay off my boy. He's giving me the hard truth. He's telling me PSA 7 at most, I would say. He can see the surface dents on the front. The centering on the back of the card is right heavy, which I would not. That's expert knowledge, dude. That's how you know he's like black belt Pokemon card collector. And you can see the whitening on the edges on the back of the card. Still really great quality for a 20-plus-year-old car. So whatever. It's probably worth $6. Probably worth $6. I'll take it. But just a little fun fact for you. Sourdeath Sam owns a PSA 7 graded first edition Pikachu card.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got 49er stuff to talk about, so I'm going to wrap up my short of shtick here. I got some sports betting to get into. Yes, sir. Sourdeath Sam's $5 pickup.
Yes, sir.
You know I love wasting money. And I do it every week with Sourdeath Sam's $5 pick'em, where I stand the chance to win $1,000+ if my slate of picks does what they're supposed to do. I always choose touchdowns because I'm a masochist, and that's what I do around here. I just make bad decisions. Terry McLaurin, I got him getting a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, same thing. These are all just touchdowns, so I'm going to read the names. You tell me if it's their fire picks or if it's another $5 down the drain. Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra, Cooper Kupp, Devon Achane, Ricky Pearsall. I got him getting back-to-back TDs, back-to-back games of the TD. You tell me. Quentin Johnson, he's been having a sneaky good season. And Nico Collins, he's back, baby. And Lord knows the Texans need him. So if you think you've got a better stack of picks that you want to throw on the table for $5, go ahead and give it a shot. bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Your first deposit matched in bonus cash up to $1,000. bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Give it a shot. Give it a whirl. Let me know what you think. Holla at your boy. Let me read some of these comments. I'm going to bring my guest on. Next time, ask Cassius Marsh. You know what? That's a great idea. I don't have any magic cards. My brother might. He was more about that life. JD Durham says, you so funny. My girlfriend believes that like 50% of the time, but I appreciate you believing that today. Special teams has been a nightmare for most of Kyle's tenure.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And Hint says, if they miss the playoffs, can Deebo and Tabor have a boxing match? For charity, dude, that'd be pretty fun. All right, listen. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a rival on our hands. We've got a crazy game right behind us. And I've got a very special guest that I would like to share this conversation with. Someone who I've wanted on the show for a while. I'm happy he's here today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Vish. What's up, man?
What's up? That was awesome.
Dude, thank you for subjecting yourself to this experience. I'm grateful for you being here. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I was having an okay day, and then I listened to you talk about Pokemon cards for a minute. Then I listened to the free money that you just gave away. Thank you very much. I'm going to put that in my back pocket. And then finally, I got to hear about you possibly talking about Pokemon cards with Cassius Marsh on top of that. So I'm having a fantastic day now.
That's what it's all about, man. Having a good time. My favorite thing is when I bring people on, they're like, dude, this show's got me hyped up. I'm like, hey, I'm happy to do it for somebody. Listen, we just played a game that was real bucking close. We played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a score of 23-20. And I got to tell you, special teams shouldn't be, but became the headline in the worst possible way. Let's kind of go through the motions here. Obviously, the star of the show is the 3 missed field goals, but sort of what were your sort of top level takeaways from this game? Anything that you noticed in particular that you feel is worth mentioning as we sort of recap this tense event?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about these 49ers games these days is that everybody's able to recap them and everybody's there to recap all of the big points. So there's not too much left meat on the bone to analyze when you hit Wednesday because just about every big talking point is taken. I think for me, the biggest thing to monitor is I thought Christian McCaffrey was maybe 75-80% in that game. I thought he just gutted it out because I think he really wanted to play this year, and I think there was nothing stopping him from playing this year. And even at 75-80%, I think he had, like, dare I say, gravity that created yak. Like, the 49ers yak was back for the first time all season. And so is keeping Christian McCaffrey even at 75-80% healthy the formula for this team to maybe make a possible run? I don't know, but that's kind of, I guess, the takeaway for me because I don't think they're getting 100% of McCaffrey, but we're seeing 75-80% of McCaffrey still has a large impact. And then the other one for me, Sam, is the Juwan Jennings-Ricky Pearsall receiver duo. It's a good receiver duo. Juwan Jennings is just straight up a number one receiver in the NFL. Who had that in their bingo card? I didn't. It's amazing.
100%. I mean, we're talking 93 yards from Juwan, 73 yards from Ricky Pearsall, and a touchdown. And that's something I'm excited to talk about as we go down the show. But, well, the beautiful thing about having a show on Wednesday is I can just regurgitate everyone else's points, right? That's why I have it on a Wednesday, so I don't have to have any original thoughts. But if I had to have an original thought, I would say as a successful after the bye team, it was nice to continue that trend. We're 4-1 over the past 5 seasons after the bye, which I guess the moral of the story there is rest goes a long way for the 49ers and our aging roster. I think Brock Purdy had a sneaky good game. I mean, I wouldn't call it a great game, but sneaky good game for sure. 353 yards. And if you want to nitpick anything he did wrong, I'm sure he's 5 steps ahead of you, as according to some of the reports that came out. I think Debo said that. One of the players said on the plane effectively, they were saying, hey, great game, Brock. And he's like, all the things I did wrong, all I can think about, which, I appreciate. But
I love the way you said that sneaky good game, right? Because it's almost like he had an errant start to the game, so it almost decided that therefore he's played bad in this game. And then next thing you know, he has 350 yards. He's making these insane throws in the fourth quarter. He has this off schedule to Kittle. He has that throw to McCaffrey. He's leading them down the field for a game-winning field goal like it's nothing, and you still have to say sneaky good. That's funny.
It's true. I've been a Brock Purdy truther, and it's funny because there's games where I don't even know why I have to be. I think you're not going to pull Lamar Jackson out of a hat when Brock Purdy's on the field. It's just he's not doing Lamar Jackson things, but I think people take for granted the Brock Purdy things he does well. He is a effective scrambler. He has demonstrated that over and over and over again. punch out the hole on the over when it comes to Brock Purdy rushing yards, because chances are he's continuing to be underestimated as far as how he can run. Speaking of how we can run as a team, you're right. Christian McCaffrey did not feel like he was 100%. Obviously, in addition to the injury he has had, you can also imagine that he probably hasn't had the opportunity to ramp up his fitness in ways that he likely has in the past, certainly in the offseason. Even though he only had 39 yards on 13 carries, he did have 68 yards receiving. So it's important to distribute the statistics to say he wasn't useless. But, when you've got a running back that we've had, who's just now sitting on the sidelines, only getting one touch in Jordan Mason, he happened to be leading the league in broken tackles. And so that's someone that, as we think about the week going ahead, especially with someone who already had a big game against the Seahawks, just saying, maybe CMC can slow down the reps a little bit. We'll see.
We've had this conversation, I feel like, every year since Christian McCaffrey's gotten to the 49ers. Like, maybe they can slow him down and get Elijah Mitchell a few touches. People have been championing Jordan Mason to get carries for 2 years now. It just doesn't happen. And I think the part that people don't talk about enough is I think Christian McCaffrey also refuses to come off the field.
Yes.
And that's the other part in this, right? It's always Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's got to pull him out. Kyle Shanahan's got to give this guy more carries, blah, 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 blah. But Christian McCaffrey is so effective on every single play because he's the best receiver on this team and he's the best running back on this team. He's the best ball carrier on this team. He's pretty much the best. Everything that he can do, he's the best at it on this team. And he's also the best competitor, and the guy gives everything he has on every single play. So I think he refuses to come off the field as well, and that's an element of it. And I think that's part of why it's really hard to get other people carries when he gets going, because he's just in such a great rhythm, and you talked about it. He had an okay return coming back from an extremely serious injury where he had an experimental procedure, and he had 100 yards from scrimmage like it was nothing. And then the other thing I liked that you touched on earlier was the Brock Purdy truther, because I think you touched on complimenting him on things that I feel like people take for granted and don't take as compliments. I'll throw two more in there that I feel like people just haven't taken and given him enough credit for. One, it's the availability, right? The last 2.5 years, he's been the starter week in and week out. Brock Purdy is available to start for the 49ers. We saw that with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's an issue. If your quarterback is not available, you need to have a starting quarterback that starts for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's funny because of the rookie scale, we evaluate quarterbacks differently. But before, a sign of a good quarterback would be a guy that starts for an organization for multiple years. That's the only way you know that he's good. And then the other one I'll throw in is the consistency. Regardless of how good or bad you think he is, and I think that's always up for debate, because he's probably not as bad as the worst person who hates on him the most thinks he is, and he's probably not as good as his biggest fan thinks he is, but he's very consistent with how he's played. He's played essentially getting better, but at this level from when he started day one, when he got his first opportunity versus the Dolphins, to now. And that, like a lot of quarterbacks' careers, goes in waves, right? We saw it with a lot of different quarterbacks with the 49ers. Colin Kaepernick had some waves. Purdy has stayed very consistent throughout. Even in his worst game, he's bounced back and played better. And even in his best game, he's stayed near this level. And I think those are two things that don't get talked about. They get taken for granted. But when you look at the landscape of the league, you look at how much turnover there is at the position, how many guys are good as flash in the pans, I think those are two things you can throw in there as well. As to say, maybe he's quietly a good quarterback, the way you said he quietly had a good game.
Yes. One of the words that I know you and I share a fond appreciation of is nuance. And there is a lot of little nuance to his game that I just adore. And he is incredible. He is very, very excellent with his anticipation. So much so that sometimes he'll make a throw and you go, what an idiot. What was he thinking? And you watch the tape and you see receiver got held up. You see that there was something he knew was supposed to happen that none of us would have been any of the wiser because we're watching it live until you run the tape back and you see, oh, he was right the whole time. It was he made the throw he had to make, but it was either the play was so disrupted that it looked like a total bust of a throw, or it just looked like he was off target. So I'm just saying.
I love the way you describe that, because I would say like my favorite part of him is his balls, for lack of a better term. The guy has a huge pair of balls. He definitely does things that a guy with his
Yes, sir.
He runs and scrambles in a way that a guy who looks like him and is as big as him probably shouldn't. And he does it really effectively. And I love that. I love the chances he takes. He's a gambler. He is careful, but he is a gambler. And I think it makes him entertaining on a week after week basis to watch. I think he's probably the most underrated quarterback that on a week to week basis does something amazing in a game that makes you go like, wait, what did he just do? And sometimes with Purdy, it's what did he just do that, my heart rate went up to 190 before he threw the ball, and then all of a sudden I'm in bliss and happiness. But hey, what's the climax without some sound effects, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The last thing I'll say is that I feel like I'm still looking for this. By the way, obviously, first back-to-back win we've had all season, which is insane. It's also concerning that we haven't. I don't feel like we've strung together a game where I feel confident that we like have our entire groove back. It's kind of like when you're playing golf and it's like, okay, well, my short game's good, but now my driver is bad, and now this and that, and it's constantly something feels like it's always out of sync. And maybe it's the curse of our special teams constantly being an albatross around our neck. But I am hoping that our offense can start to click into gear, especially now that the reality is setting in that Brandon Ayuk is not walking back through that door. We have who we have. The trade deadline is over. No one else is walking back through that door unless we're pulling someone off the street. So the truth is that the time for cohesive sort of synergy and locking into a team chemistry and, frankly, an identity starts now. And it's unfortunate it has to start after the bye, because the truth is I still feel like we're trying to find our identity. So I don't know. At least we pulled out a tough win as opposed to, letting another one slip through our fingers.
Yeah, I love the identity point, and I think it kind of sums up that problem that you just described, which is why is this team constantly like their own worst enemy, and why do they keep getting in the way of themselves, right? Like, why do they almost have a perfect half versus Tampa Bay and then in a minute and 50 seconds lose every bit of momentum that they had going into halftime? How do they do that? Well, I think it's just because they're a little bit different than they were in the last couple of years. And that goes in the sense that they're not as talented, and they're not as talented specifically on defense. This team was pretty much driven by their front seven for the last 4 or 5 years, specifically their defensive line. They're not a defensive line driven team anymore, and they're frankly not a defensive driven team anymore. That transition has been happening for the last couple of years, and now it's fully happened because they have a middle-of-the-road defense with 2 Hall of Famers. That's what they have. And one very good corner in Diamador Lenore. And so...
Go ahead. Finish your point.
Yeah, when you're in that sort of situation, I feel like it's hard to hold leads. It's hard to play with certain styles. Even Tampa Bay showed that they are able to run the football versus the 49ers. They averaged nearly 5 yards a carry for the majority of that game, and they didn't have Tristan Wirfs. They didn't have their 2 wide receivers. There's just not as much dominance and depth on this defensive line, and it makes it difficult for them to close games. And so this is just the new style 49ers. But the new style 49ers should be able to win this way because they should be like this. They're about to play their They're about to pay their quarterback. This is what happens when you're about to pay your quarterback.
Very true. Very true. And as you mentioned, Diamador Lenore has been a bit of a bright spot. And because he's been a bit of a bright spot, they've paid attention. And not only did they pay attention, they just went ahead and paid him in general. 5 years, $92 million extension. The 49ers with a very well appreciated mid-season transaction getting handled as opposed to playing hard to get in free agency and seeing what happens. Obviously, his contributions this year have been very important. I just kind of want to get your perspective on what this sort of means for us long term. I know you mentioned sort of the depth versus us paying versus our defensive backs. obviously this is a statement which is saying we want to make sure that we've got this guy taken care of. And especially with, the unfortunate absence right now of Mooney Ward, this is even more important than ever to give this man some confidence that we believe in him in the long term.
Yeah, so I'll give you a different take that I think probably I'm not sure that anybody else has given on the situation. So I look at this extension as essentially an evolution of thought from the 49ers. Because 2 years ago in this exact spot when they forked over a big contract to a corner, which was Mooney Ward, they paid an outside corner. They didn't sign a nickel, right? They let K'Wan Williams walk. Then they drafted a nickel and Sam Womack. That didn't necessarily work out. Deommodore Lenoir ended up starting outside. Jimmy Ward played nickel for them. He played very well. They let him walk again. And they tried to solve this problem with Isaiah Oliver, and it was a disaster. And only one person in the media, by the way, Sourdeath Sam, predicted that Isaiah Oliver was going to be a disaster for the 49ers, and that was me. So, just putting that out there. What I'm bringing this to say as an evolution of thought is because they went from, hey, we need to pay an outside corner and let's solve this nickel problem, how we're going to solve it, to now they're paying all the money for the guy that plays outside and in the nickel because they realize, one, how it's important for their run defense when they play their nickel because he essentially does the job of the Sam linebacker in certain run fits. Two, how good Lenoir is in both man coverage and playing outside. And then three, it's the toughness of your defense when you have a nickel corner. He's a little more gritty. He adds a little more toughness. And so we're seeing that evolution of thought because now they're about to essentially play the outside corner problem by drafting players and going the cheaper route, right? They're going to go with Renardo Green, and then it's going to be some form of whoever replaces Mooney Ward in the long term playing outside, likely a draft pick. And so I think it's interesting that we're seeing them change and evolve over time. I think it's something they never get credit for, right? Like people talk about Shanahan never changes, Lynch never changes. If you actually look at their entire regime and their history, it's a lot of we made a mistake here and we're going to do a complete 180 here. And sometimes the 180 doesn't work either, but you can't fault them for trying the same thing over and over again. They try something different. They definitely change it. And here's them. Obviously, Lenoir deserves to get paid. That part is a given. But I think it's also showing that they wanted to pay the nickel because they realized how difficult it was to play defense without having a good nickel in this defense last year, not having that spot solidified, and Lenoir solidifies it for sure. And the big talking point of the Super Bowl also, just to emphasize my point a little bit more, was that Lenoir didn't play nickel and Logan Ryan did. And so just putting that out there too.
That was a big revelation in retrospect. I believe that information obviously came out after a couple weeks after. And yeah, I mean, I think the biggest surprise to me, and I think the trade deadline sort of reemphasized it, was that the 49ers effectively, in my opinion, it seems as though they've sort of hung their hat on Nick Bosa, and it seems like they're just trying to hope for, I think they're trying to hope that the depth that they install around it is going to be good enough. It's like depth tape. They're just kind of depth taping the D line and just saying, hey, none of these guys are terrible. All of these guys are pretty good. We'll have a couple misplays here and there, but if we have enough of them, then we know that the fall off isn't going to be so steep that we're doomed by the handful of contracts we played in which 2 out of 4 of our big guys up front are injured or unavailable, etc. So
trusting the coaching too, right?
Trusting that Chris Kocurek can, build a bear these defensive linemen into monsters, which he has a good enough track record where at least we can insinuate that the progress will be made to at least notch up their Madden rating a little bit, so to speak. But look, I mean, he's got Lenoir's got 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, 53 tackles this year. I mean, he's putting in work. Also had a touchdown on a blocked field goal, which was much appreciated against the Arizona Cardinals. But, we should be
And he's
grateful.
a good trash talker. Your show would appreciate that.
I was about to say, and we should be so grateful that we've got a dog back there. Oh, you know what? Fuck. I forgot to talk about my dog of the day. I had something to do with you. But yeah, so I much appreciate 5 years, $92 million. Fuck it. Get it done now. I'm okay with that. Don't let him go out into the market, figure out what he's really worth, because then you're really going to pay. I'm just saying. Any last thoughts on this contract?
Right. And then the other thing is he also was very important for him to get that contract done now if it was going to be with the 49ers. Because once Brock Purdy gets paid, the bank is about to close. And that's why I think we saw the total desperation from everyone to get paid. And might I add, Sourdeath Sam, that's why I think Mooney Ward is just a little bit salty this year. Because he knows that they're not opening the Brinks truck for him.
Interesting. I never thought of that, but that's very interesting. And I don't doubt it. All right. Well, we've got another stud on our hands. Pearsall that more. We got Ricky Pearsall continuing to make strides in ways that are putting the league on notice, at least, fantasy football league owners on notice. He nearly doubled his yardage from last week after stacking better and better games. If we had any concerns, if he would be gun shy about being on this team, if he would be butterfingers, he's been stepping up and he's been performing. And not only has he been performing, he's ingratiated himself with his teammates already. Obviously, being at the Warriors game last night with Deebo Samuel. I don't think he kicks it with scrubs. So Ricky Pearsall clearly made an impression on these guys in the locker room, now making an impression on the field. Just want to get your thoughts. Obviously, with the absence of Brandon Ayuk, we were going to wonder, and frankly, before the season started, we were beginning to start to formulate in our heads, what does a 49ers team look like without either Deebo or Ayuk? It was the inevitable reality that we felt we were faced with. And now that we have Pearsall in, what's your perspective on what he's given us thus far, what he adds to the team, and how does this dynamic currently work in the absence of Brandon Ayuk?
So I'll answer your question in 2 seconds because I got 2 questions for you first. One, do you have a ghostwriter?
I do not.
Okay. So this is all just from the fly because you go through and there are a lot of subtle jokes that you say very straight face that I'm not sure if people catch, but they're really funny.
I was a talker in class, and so this stuff just comes naturally.
Okay, got it. And then number 2, has anybody ever told you're like the Kevin Wildes of how you kind of start these topics and set them up?
No, but someone did comment on our curls, so I'll pull that comment up when you respond. Oh yeah, by the way, someone says you've got better curls than me. I wanted to bring up that comment, and I felt like this would be
I'm a little bit younger than you. I think that helps.
Yeah, your curls will be flat like mine in no time, kid. But
my dad's bald, so they might not even exist in no time.
Dude, I'd never, dude. Don't put that curse on you. But it's not about you. It's not about me. We're talking about Ricky Pearsall, baby.
Yeah, so let's get back to Ricky. What
are your thoughts, man?
So my thoughts on Ricky is he's really good. Like, he's good. And I think the best part of Ricky is some of the catches that he hasn't had the opportunity yet. Like, his route running is really, really on point. There was one early in the game that Brady highlighted on a comeback. And if you see how smooth he is sitting down and coming out of his break, like, he gets pretty low and he comes out of his break pretty fast. Like, Ricky's good. And then I don't know about you, Sourdeath Sam. I didn't know he could go like that after the catch. Like, when he caught the ball, I thought, okay, he's going to make a big play after the catch. I didn't think he's going to go score a touchdown. I think that when you catch the ball over the middle of the field and you're full speed, being able to score a touchdown, those are the little things to me that separate a good receiver and then is the guy a number one receiver, right? And the question with Ricky Pearsall is, does he have the talent to be a number one receiver? There's a ceiling to him. They shouldn't have drafted him at 30. Well, how many guys do you know that are hop-stepping Antoine Winfield Jr. and then outracing him to the pylon on pure acceleration? So I think they really got something. It's funny to talk about him because it's almost like they got 2 things, because Juwan Jennings is just over here and nobody knew that the 49ers have a total stud for a number 1 wide receiver. He gets open versus everybody. He catches everything. He's great after the catch. And now they have like this great duo, and it doesn't include Deebo Samuel, who's still a good player. Doesn't include Brandon Ayuk, who had a horrific knee injury and is a great player. Instead, it's Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, who expected that to start the season.
Totally. And, the one thing that I was always hoping for as we were kind of going through our slump just before the bye is I kept hoping that Ricky Pearsall was going to enter the fray and inject a level of energy, almost in the sense that he very well could be one of the missing identity pieces that we were searching for all along. Because Brandon Ayuk was still finding his footing. And look, this is the post get your bag contract dispute curse, right? It is inevitable. It almost feels like we still haven't seen Nick Bosa the way I want to see him. But with Ayuk, it just felt like he was doing all the right things. He was just kind of we were waiting for it to click into gear. It just never did. And with Pearsall, my thought was, well, what if he comes in and just like a bat out of hell in the cloak of a stealth plane, just shoots through the middle of the season, and people go, where the fuck did this guy come from? And everyone goes, oh yeah, remember they drafted them first. You just didn't see him in the preseason or the beginning of the season because he got shot. You know what I mean? And it's like, it was such a surprise. And obviously it's such a big story now because every time he scores a touchdown, every announcer of CBS or Fox, whatever, is going to go, Ricky Pearsall, yeah, just a few months ago, he was shot in San Francisco. Now he's scoring touchdowns. Like, yeah, we get it. But let's just talk about the fact that maybe he is exactly who Kyle Shanahan thought he was. Maybe he is a sound blocker. Maybe he is an extraordinary route runner. And maybe he is the guy who, I remember when we first drafted him, I was really upset. I don't know where my head was. I was just really bummed out with the pick. I just totally crashed out. And then I sort of retracted everything I was saying as I began to like calm down, breathe, understand that we were going to get, Ricky, DeJean, whatever. And I was just going to have to sit and admire this new body of work. And frankly, he's kind of developing exactly the way I hoped he would, where he's contributing seamlessly. He's ingratiating himself with the team where it really feels like the chemistry in that wide receiver room has just been augmented. And I'm really, really excited to see how he can continue to build on his progress, because if he turns out to be a dog the way I know he can be, then we've got a really good problem on our hands with our wide receiver room as far as figuring out where to go next.
Yeah, and just a last thought on him. I think the best thing about him is a lot of people talk about timing and cadence to an offense, and they talk about it from a quarterback's perspective, but it's also really important from a receiver's perspective. And that's why, not to bring up Brandon Ayuk, over the years I've become very resentful when people take Brandon Ayuk's routes in a 49ers game and isolate them and say, oh, look at all these different times he's getting open. And I'm talking about a certain uninformed public that does that. And the reason that's annoying is because there's certain times where he gets open and it's posted. They're like, oh, BA was wide open, but there's no friggin' way the quarterback could have gotten it to him from where his feet are, where he was looking, where the timing of the play is. So why are you posting that? Who cares that he juked out the guy on the backside of the play? It had nothing to do with anything. And Ricky Pearsall's timing and cadence of his routes within this offense, for a guy that had an abbreviated offseason for the shoulder injury and got shot, as you mentioned, it's pretty amazing. He's got, Greg Cosell called it snappy. And I think when he called it snappy, he meant he's explosive. But within that explosiveness, he also has a rhythm where he comes open right on time. Good example of this is versus outside leverage at the end of the game on the last drive, the big in that he runs, he snaps open right on time. He has a great timing and cadence to his route running. That's something Debo didn't necessarily pick up until later on in this offense, especially funnily enough, because he started as a rookie. So it's a very subtle but impressive thing. And I agree with you. All the reasons why people were upset that the 49ers drafted Ricky Pearsall, oh, low ceiling, he's too much of a technician, not enough like physical gifts. Those are the reasons why they're okay at receiver, because this guy's able to come in day one and play like this in week 9 or week 10.
Yeah. And if
not a lot of guys would have been able to do that in this offense.
And if we can capitalize on the yak like we did against the Bucs, I mean, we're in business, because that is very potent stuff. All right. We're going to go. You're a smart guy. You're a studious fella.
Oh, thanks, man.
Let's go into true or false. All right. Let's go to true or false. True or false? Cut Jake Moody.
Yeah, true.
True.
I
Oh
don't
man.
I don't fuck with kickers and the yips. To me, it's quite
Mm.
simple when it comes to kicking in the NFL. All 32 guys that do it have the talent to do it, okay? And in the modern league, 40 guys can kick from 50, 55 yards. That's not even a question. It's not like there's only one Sebastian Janikowski. So to me, it's about who's hot or who's not. I don't give a fuck if the guy was drafted in the third round, fourth round, fifth round, whatever. Look at Chase McLaughlin, perfect example. So suddenly you just get hot and you become good in your career. Jake Moody, yips, I'm not messing with this. You don't need to deal with this. Get a veteran, solidify this issue. Shoot, I would have even given Anders Carlson another shot. The guy was a total disaster in Green Bay, but 5 field goals on a Sunday night game? Why not?
Hell yeah. I agree with you. But as someone who's been a very vocal Jake Moody truther, I have to stick to my guns for at least one more game. I'm going to say false. Oh, God, it hurts. I'm going to say false because I believe
Look,
in Jake Moody.
If you want my take on Jake specifically, that's independent. I'm just talking about kickers in general.
No,
I
you're
don't
right.
play with this. Is he?
You're right.
I don't want to do that.
All right, you say true, I say false. Let the man breathe. Give him one more chance. All right, reduce snaps
Now
for
I feel
Christian
like a jerk.
McCaffrey.
Sorry, Jake.
Reduce snaps for Christian McCaffrey. True or false?
False.
You
I think
wanna-
Shanahan's best rhythm is when they just aren't substituting and he's got a feel and they're first down, second down, first down, first down, second down, first down. And the best thing about that cadence and rhythm is number 23 because it'll be run with 23, 3 yards, throw to 23, 10 yards, run with 23, 6 yards, throw to 23. And next thing you know, they're at the 8-yard line kicking a field goal. But true or false. Keep Christian McCaffrey, keep him going. Let him do what he does.
Man, I say true, comma, let him ramp up a little bit. Now, the challenge with that psychology is like, we don't know. We could give CMC 3 snaps and God forbid he could get injured in one of them. We could give CMC all 61 snaps of the last game and he could walk away feeling like he's RoboCop still. The truth is like, it's so hard to quantify. The only means of quantification here is how many opportunities do you give this person to potentially put themselves at risk, right? And what I say is give him a week or two, especially since we have Jordan Mason just sitting back there, waiting to continue to break tackles. Like, I don't know. I say cut the snaps a little bit. Maybe instead of 54 out of 61, like in this previous game, let's just say maybe 30-60. Give Jordan Mason a little treat. Let him know he did a good job this season and keep him active. That's what I say. But, that's just me. That's just me.
It becomes hard, right? Because I feel like it's like, what down do you take him out? Because every down with him is important. Because do you take him out on a 2nd and 8 run, but then a 2nd and 8 run, he can get you to 3rd and 4, and Mason might have you at 3rd and 6. So then maybe you want him on the 2nd and 8 run. Well, do you want to take him out on first down? Well, first down, you don't know if you're going to run or pass, and he's a great option for both. So do you want to take him out on first down? Okay, fine. Don't take him out on first down. Well, take him out on 3rd down. Well, he's the best pass protector of our backs. He's the best route runner of our backs. He's the best receiver of our backs. Do we take him out? No, we can't take him out on 3rd down. I think that's the problem with removing him. Because you're right? Like, how do you integrate Mason in the game? But realistically, if you're Shanahan, you're Bobby Turner, and you're going through the game live playing these scenarios, because you're not experiencing knowing what the next down is. You're experiencing 2nd and 8 as it's happening. And it's a 17-17 game in Tampa Bay, and you might blow this thing. Or 2020 game in Tampa Bay, you might blow this thing. I think that's when it just becomes really hard to replace him or take him out of the game.
Last question before we go to the 49ers Seahawks. Should the 49ers been more aggressive at the deadline? True or false?
False. I don't know what being aggressive would have been. If I could have known that they could have maybe gotten an edge player had they given up a pick, maybe I would have gone for it. But again, this deadline, thank God they didn't give us 2nd or 3rd for Devontae Adams. Is that what being aggressive at this deadline was?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, and I'm kind of with you. Like the way I feel about it is, and I've used this analogy earlier in the season, and it feels even more apt now, or it still feels apt, is what I would say. Is like sometimes you're at the casino and you're losing, and your first instinct is to pull more cash. Mm-hmm. And I think this is one of those moments where we need to let the cards ride, because we need to understand that we're waking up tomorrow and we have a bill we've got to pay. And we've got a roster that's aging, and we might need those draft picks. We gave a hefty share of picks for a certain player who now may or may not be starting for the Cowboys. And I think it's time we sort of lick our wounds a little bit. And I think it is what it is. Obviously, we'll never know what was in the mystery box. We have some semblance of speculation. But as far as what I've heard, fuck it. I think we're fine. So we'll see. Don't pull cash out of the ATM if you're losing. All right. Sometimes you just got to let the cards ride. If it turns out, it turns out. We have a plenty talented roster as it is. If we could have gotten a killer edge rusher, so be it. I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like at a certain point, too, New England, to me, was the biggest lesson of this year after year. Sure, they had Brady, but how do you take the team that you have and make it the best version of the team you have? And so, okay, we're strong here, we're weak here. That's every football team. Even the one with the most amount of talent is weak somewhere. So how do you play your strengths and play away, or how do you play to your strengths and play away from your weaknesses? That's what November and December football is all about. That's what coaching's all about. And that's something the 49ers have been extremely good at the last 3-4 years. And now we get to see, Kyle Shanahan with that disgusting mullet get after it.
That goddamn disgusting mullet. I like it.
Sir.
All right. What's up?
You like his or Sorensen's?
I like Kyle's. I like the look he's got going on. It's like it looks like he looks like enough of a degenerate where like I can respect it. That's my opinion. We play.
I love that.
Speaking of degenerates, we play the Seahawks.
Mike
soon.
McDaniel.
Close. Oh, I love Mike McDaniel. Shout out Mike McDaniel forever.
Did you see the close-ups of him on TV though?
No, I was kind of cooking while that game was on.
Oh.
But he always looks like a degenerate.
Yeah, he looks like he's been going through it this year.
I love that dude. I hope he's okay. And look, Dolphins are getting better, so I'm sure that makes him happy. But we got the Seahawks to worry about. We're not playing Miami. We're playing the fucking Seahawks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Obviously, we have had a lot of success against the Seahawks, but every time we play them, I still have enough trauma left over from previous seasons that I always have a little bit of concern. And this one, we'll see. I mean, last time we met up with them, Geno had through two interceptions. Kenneth Walker only rushed for 32 yards. And we were able to hold DK Metcalf to less than 50 yards without Travarius Ward. And obviously our offense had some spectacular performances as well. As we look forward to this matchup, does anything change, or are we just trying to copy paste what we did last time in hope that we lock in another victory?
It's a copy paste, but I think the most important thing that needs to happen in this game is what's been happening with the 49ers versus Seattle the last couple of years. And that's Nick Bosa coming out and being very dominant early in these games. Because the thing with Geno Smith, and I think a lot of 49ers fans think Geno Smith really sucks because of how he looks versus the 49ers. But if you let him build confidence in a football game where he's able to feel the pocket, he'll start to step into the pocket. And when he does, Geno can make some throws, man. Like, he can make some real special throws down the field. The reason that never happens versus the 49ers is Bosa hits him early. He gets nervous. He gets a little bit rattled. And then the next thing you know, the entire game feels like Geno Smith is not trying to get hit by Nick Bosa again. Now, the thing to consider with Bosa is the hip injury. I felt like, I don't know how you felt, Sam, but I did feel like it was something that bothered him over the course of that game. So that, to me, is the main talking point when it comes into this week. Because, yes, the 49ers are going to have the same advantages they had versus Seattle's defense. Seattle is also going to have similar advantages they had versus the 49ers. Now, the big thing was they stopped Kenneth Walker last time these two teams played. Maybe he's a little bit more effective by proxy just because they're a good running team and the Niners don't have a great run defense? Probably not, because their offensive line isn't very good. So I'm going to say that that's going to remain the same. So to me, the most important thing then is how do you stop Seattle's pass game? And that comes down to hitting Geno. It's all about Nick Bosa for me this week. I think this game, this series, this competition between the 49ers and Seattle, this is why you drafted Nick Bosa second overall. These are the games that he's got to go win, and this one's at home. He should be ready to eat.
Absolutely. It is.
He's the happiest he's ever been.
I know. Yeah. Very happy with recent events. He is the common denominator for sure, as far as the performances that have stood out when the Seahawks look anemic. And I don't see this being any different. We do have the added wrinkle of CMC, but let's not forget, like, Isaac Guerrero got 99 yards against the Seahawks, and that was on top of Jordan Mason giving 73. Debo had a big game. Kittle had a massive game with 2 touchdowns. So our offense, if we can replicate that, if we could sort of find a way to hang up another 30 points, which also seems to be a hallmark against the Seahawks, if we can kind of hit them with the same old Seahawks like energy, and do it with confidence, and maybe win 3 in a row, I think that would be an excellent way for us to sort of ramp up into becoming a team that's getting hot at the right time. That is, frankly, if I'm being honest, getting hot at the right time, this sort of like mojo of building the hot at the right time is so mission critical for the 49ers, because we have not yet been able to build any momentum. And we're beginning to see the cream separate. We're beginning to see the teams that are and are not going to make it. And frankly, when people are putting the power rankings together, the moment they even think about putting the 49ers in a higher category, we put up a fucking stinker. And it just blows us right back down the rankings. And look, I don't care what ESPN announcer A, B, or C has to say about the 49ers, because the truth is that they're probably right. We all have the same vision, and we're watching us blow games to the Rams at the wrong time, without them having any of their most powerful weapons. And so we need to get hot at the right time. This game is important to creating rungs on the ladder that can help us get there. So if we want to be that team, we do need Nick Bosa to put up that type of performance. We do need Diamador Lenore to prove that he can demonstrate a high level of proficiency at his position, maybe get an interception or 2. And we also need our playmakers who are currently with us right now. We need CMC. We need all of our new talent coming in with Ricky Pearsall, etc., to be operating at a high level. And for God fucking sake, we need our special teams to not shit the bed in any department. We don't need punts dropped. We don't need kicks missed. We need a really sound football game edge to edge.
Are you available for a 4-year, $92 million contract to do that for the 49ers every Saturday? God damn it.
I'm just saying.
No wonder the team shows up flat. They think Nick Bosa gives them motivational speeches.
I know. Well, I watched enough Jim Harbaugh tape to. I just didn't throw off enough historical references.
I love the way you said that. I'm also a big mic'd up tape watcher. I've watched a lot of mic'd up tape over the course of the years. Like, a lot of people don't understand, but I know coach speak. I know coach quotes.
I believe it, dude. I believe it. I need like a Vish plushie for Christmas that gives me some motivation. I just pull the string and you just give me some coach speak. I'd appreciate that.
You bet. I mean, the Jim Harbaugh, like, attack this day with the
enthusiasm. Like, bro, I'm gonna get that tattooed on my fucking anything. But yeah, I mean, that's how I feel, and I think as long as we're able to play like a edge to edge complete game where we're not making dumb mistakes, DK's looking out of control. I mean, my favorite Seahawks games are when we are so cognizant of the fact that we need to not have dumb penalties, and we just let DK Metcalf like stir into madness, and we just watch our players just sort of let him do it. Those are the games that I know we've got it in the bag.
Well, and the cool thing is we are like in a new era of 49ers and Seahawks football, which is awesome because my lifetime, I've only known their butts getting kicked by Matt Hasselbeck and then Russell Wilson kicking their butts. But frankly, Brock Purdy's like best division matchup in the NFC West is the Seahawks. He plays consistently great against the Seahawks. He loves playing the Seahawks. They're like his Jimmy Garoppolo's Rams. And so it's a very interesting thing because I don't think that dynamic has existed for a lot of fans in their lifetime, certainly not in mine, where a 49ers quarterback plays well in Seattle. A 49ers quarterback plays Seattle well. A 49ers quarterback owns Seattle. And that's kind of the case with this matchup. And I think that's also why it's so relaxing. And you talk about like they got to play great edge to edge and all of that. And you feel like they're going to do it. You feel like Seattle came at the perfect time on the schedule because you feel like Seattle is the 49ers get on track game, which is awesome. When did we ever say that?
I know, but then when you say some shit like that, I get scared because like it's the perfect trap. Because that is so classic us to like find a banana peel to slip on at the worst time. But I guess we'll find out. I guess there's only one way to find out, and it's to show up on the field and play these motherfuckers on Sunday. So we will see. But hey, listen, before I let you go, we have some affirmations to get to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For those of you just joining me on this show for the first time, this is affirmations, where we share kind and encouraging words, things you will not find on twitter.com. We will share our thoughts on players, coaches, people, anyone, anything. And we're going to do it right now. So, you are my guests. I will let you go first. Is there anyone you would like to share kind or encouraging words about here on Affirmations?
Yeah, I got one for Tabor Pepper.
Cook.
All right, ready?
Ready.
Hey, Tabor. The world is hearing you, my friend. I understand it sounds like your coach is taking the side of the star receiver, but it's okay, man. We're hearing you, we understand why you're upset, and we stand with you. I know why the long snapper of the team needs to spend so much time on camera. I know why the long snapper on the team needs to get so much attention from fans on Twitter. It's because I watch you for watching the 49ers every Sunday. The same way I watched Brian Jennings for 10 years. Now, I watched Brian Jennings for 10 years and could never tell you a word about him. I watched you for 3 years and I have 8 different stories about you. I see you, I hear you, I stand with you, Tabor Pepper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like Tabor Pepper. So glad he made an appearance on Affirmations. And thank you, Tabor, for grading my card. True story. He and I actually recorded an interview.
You wouldn't have gotten $6 without that.
I know. God forbid if I'd sold that for $4. True story.
I was thinking 4 as well. Shoot.
He and I actually recorded an interview together years ago, and I wasn't able to cut it together because my life, crazy shit happened right after the interview. So I owe him a completed project. It will come. Trust.
All right, Sourdeath Sam, though, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock Central Time on a Wednesday, so you're getting me a little bit uncut. I have an issue with the long snapper doing an interview, man. I have an issue with that.
Oh, well, wait till you see it done.
But you're not the only one that's done it with him.
Oh, I know. Well, this is Affirmations, not complaints department.
Oh, sorry.
All right, wrap it up.
Tabor. Sorry, Tabor. Yeah. I was being nice, Tabor. Sorry,
The
Tabor.
banner says Affirmations, Vish. Now I got to burn sage again. All right, so this affirmation goes out to... I'm gonna fucking do it, man. I'm gonna take the bullet. Jake Moody. Look, man, nobody is gonna be stoked to see you on that field. And what better revenge than to kick that ball through the uprights so relentlessly, so consistently that people forget the game that they're even talking about. You held the fucking Super Bowl record for longest kick. All right? That's pressure. That's distance. That's dog. And I want you to know that you are that guy. All right? You came off an injury. and people are dogging you because our offense wasn't good enough to score touchdowns. I'm talking to him. Don't worry. I know our offense is good to score touchdowns. But look, I believe in you. You're a dog. You just need another game to come out and prove that you're the menace that you are. You are Jake fucking Moody, man. I believe in you.
Yes, sir.
Did you get this from like the weighing in show on UFC when they do the like fighter, you must do this to win? And
No,
then he looks real serious at the camera and he's like, John Jones.
No, that's funny though. No, I just was like, everyone's being hella mean. I'm gonna have an affirmations part of my show.
Got it.
All right, give me one more.
I'll give you one more. I'll make this one actually nice. Chris Forrester, shout out to you. The 49ers offensive line is silently playing great this year. There are a lot of people that aren't very good at their position, aren't very talented, aren't very highly paid that you're getting to play extremely well. The 49ers are running the football really well this year, despite missing a Hall of Fame running back and running with an undrafted running back. That has a lot to do with your blocking schemes, with the way it's getting set up and the way you run the football. So shout out to you, Chris Forrester. I understand that San Francisco probably doesn't have the same party time as Miami, but after seeing Shanahan Monday before the Super Bowl, it sounds like you guys are having just a good old time in the coaches meeting. So Chris Forrester.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
I love that one. Dominic Cooney playing like an absolute legend. So shout out to him as well. All right. Well, look, I'm going to give my last, and you don't have to reciprocate. I'm just going to do it. I want to give you some affirmations. I think you are such a wonderful addition to the 49ers sort of content universe. I've been watching you for a while. Like, you'd have to take, I don't know if you're still in school, but you'd have to like cut out of fucking spaces to go study. Like, but you were so consistently a voice of reason in so many contexts. And I was so grateful for you to not be disgusted by the idea of coming onto this show, because you're a voice that I want everyone to have the opportunity to be introduced to if they haven't already. One of my goals with this show was to have a diversity of voices, a diversity of thought. So sometimes I'll have guests who don't fuck with each other, who might be coming on different weeks, but that's one of the things I love about this show, is being able to sort of introduce people to different voices, to have a sort of cornucopia of perspective. And you were one I was very, very, very excited to have on, because I really fuck with you heavy. I think you've got really amazing things to say. And I just know you've got a bright future here in doing this thing. So I just want to do some love.
Oh, thanks, man. You're flattering me too much. I'm blushing. You said I don't have to reciprocate, but I would throw it right back. I feel like you're a shining light on 49ers Twitter. On a negative place, I feel like you find a humor in a lot of things. And I think you're genuinely funny. I find you to be funny. I think that your sense of humor is great. I think you and East Bay Chris, I would say, have probably my two. I'm constantly interested in what you guys have to say in the replies, or even just like the funny things you have to say to David Lombardi or to someone else, or how you respond to somebody being a certain sort of way. I love it. So keep it up, and I'm enjoying it. And yeah, you got a fan in me.
I appreciate it. Oh, look at this. That's love, baby.
Yes, sir.
I can go from reference to reference too, man.
Dude, much respect. That's why you're a legend on this show, man. That's why you're a legend. And East Bay Chris, I'm trying to get him on at some point. So maybe if enough of us lobby, we'll make it happen.
Are you trying to do the debate as well and all of that?
Man, I don't think it's going to happen. I wanted to. First of all, I didn't even realize, but Ryan Hensley had actually pitched it to him before I did. I didn't see the interaction. So technically he gets first dibs. But I would love David Lombardi to debate Grant. That would be such golden.
It's gonna happen. Man. I think they're building up for it, and let me tell you why. Have you read Lombardi's Wikipedia?
No.
Oh, okay. Spend some time reading that, or maybe pull it up here right now.
Fuck it. Why not? Hold on. This is the perfect way to end the show. Wait. Oh my God. Okay. I'm so excited. David Lombardi. Here it is. Oh my God. This is the first time I've actually ever done like a Joe Rogan pull up a website thing. Hey Jamie, pull up David Lombardi. Pull up David Lombardi's Wikipedia.
Oh,
All
fuck, man.
Let's take a look. Okay. Oh, it's small as hell. Hold on. Maybe if I get us out of the way. Let me see if I could do this.
By the way, Sourdeath Sam, the production quality is crazy, man.
Oh,
You're too HD.
Too HD. Yeah, probably for my own good. Okay, so what am I looking for here?
Go into career.
Career?
And
Ooh.
reception.
Career. Okay. Lombardi made first appearance on San Francisco 49ers official podcast You've Got Mail in 2020. Didn't know that. What? Oh man. Wait. One of Lombardi's first investigative jobs was to cover the 2018 misdemeanor drugs charges and later felony domestic violence case surrounding Reuben Foster, which was ultimately closed. He's a lecturer at College of Marin.
Oh,
That's
maybe
crazy.
it's in reception, but he essentially, somebody, maybe him, has written the Wikipedia and he talks about his rivalry.
No way. With Grant?
Yes.
Oh my God. Fuck yes. Okay. In the article, Beck contrasted him with Grant Cohn, another sports commentator who takes a more contrarian, skeptical approach to covering football. Since 2023, Cohn has stated that he and Lombardi are locked in a feud. As of September 2024, let me zoom in on this. As of September 2024, Lombardi has never commented publicly in response to Cohn. This led to a May 2024 House of Strauss podcast by Cohn, where he was asked whether he felt threatened by Lombardi's increasing use of YouTube, which was up to then considered Cohn territory, which he denied. Who the fuck said it was Cohn territory? I don't think Grant said that.
Who do you think's written this?
Well, I think David.
Tone of voice is interesting, man.
David, dude, that's who wrote this, man. Come on.
So the debate is gonna come. That's the main point of this. Okay, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I'm not trying to be mean.
I gotta edit
okay?
this. Oh, I gotta edit this. I gotta say, several folks on the online Twitter space media have insinuated that Grant and because Grant already accepted, so I'll put in the wiki like Grant has offered to debate and David has declined and put it in his court. There you have it.
Well, I think Brett Rumbeck nails it in the comments. Shout out to Brett. What's up, Brett?
Ooh,
how's it going?
let me put that in there.
He says that's written like a WWE beef. That's my main point here.
Yes, sir.
They're literally building it up to meet on YouTube.
Oh,
Sourdeath
God,
Sam, you need to get the contract. This is all
I need
you
it, dude.
get it
I
signed.
need it so bad. I'm gonna grandstand on this. Maybe in the off season when nothing fucking matters. But that is interesting. He's a College of Marin professor. I took a film class there when I was in college, and I had an existential crisis. So I know a lot about College of Marin. Great. Well, Vish, that was fun as shit. Thank you for hopping on. Is there anything you'd like to say to our public before I sign everyone off?
Dude, no. I mean, this was me after hours. You got a little unfiltered moment with me. I enjoyed coming on, honestly. This was really, really fun. In all honesty, you talked about, well, you weren't sure if I was going to come on and all that. I do know about your show. I think it's really good. I think your production quality is off the charts. I think your sense of humor is great. I think a lot more people need to be watching your show. I know you got a fan in Rob Guerrera for sure.
Yeah, he's a legend.
And so he was telling me about you and your show as well. And so I think you should keep doing what you're doing. And I feel like this is a place more 49ers fans should be, because I think YouTube content right now is extremely divisive. I think most people, when they do content, and I say this from a place of knowing a lot of the people who do content, do it from a place of they just do this because that's how they want to make money and that's how they want to feed their families. And something I appreciate about you, and it's very clear, is you do it from a place of passion. And I think that should touch your audience. And I really appreciate that about you personally, because I also do it from a place of passion.
Yeah, bro. I'm not even monetized, so this shit's all free.
There you go.
Well, I appreciate it, man, very, very much. And you are welcome anytime. I'm sure if we make it into the playoffs, etc., you're a voice I would love to have. So, Vish, thank you very much for hopping on. And I'm going to sign everyone off and get my ass to bed. See you later, buddy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. I didn't give you my dog of the day. Let me just fucking do it now.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
Ricky Pearsall. That's my dog of the day.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
All right, so that's the show. Thank you very much. We got to get this Lombardi. I'm going to make it my life's mission. Number one life's mission is Jed York coming on the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Number two life mission is getting Lombardi and Cone on a debate moderated by yours truly. And also anyone else who wants to hop on, really. We'll get anyone. Thank you all for hopping on with me. I appreciate it. Love you all very much. Let's get this fucking W. Let's get this win over the Seahawks. And let's get the momentum going because we need it, guys. We need it. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.